Okay, now that's all of the components on the player, the root that is, but there's more. Oh yes, there's so much more. If you go through all of these, you can find things like these hint gizmos, which basically allows you to change the color of what the gizmos look like. By default, just leave them. This is if you really want to tweak it, but you know, yeah, no. Moving on to the main camera. Let's take a look at the main camera here, which is the base. It tells you where you want the target to be. So I want it to follow the top joint of the player's player's character, as well as the head offset. So here is where you would adjust the camera's position, whether it's left or right, that kind of thing. Okay. Or vertical, that kind of thing. Instant following that joint. All of this is configured by default, but you have the standing forward offset as well as the prone forward offset. What this means is basically when you look down, the camera offsets as you look down. So it's looking like, I guess, like real eyes, because your eyes are not attached to the top of your spine, so they don't just rotate directly down. They kind of offset down as you look, which is more realistic. So you can adjust that here. You have the modern settings for the standing, crouch, and prone, for the looking distance, looking up, looking down, that kind of thing. So you can adjust how your character camera's restrictions are. You can totally disable that if you want, but I would not recommend that. I would just, tweak them to get the desired result. This is all basically very self-explanatory. You have the retro mode settings here, which are basically the modern settings, as well as your rotation and that kind of thing. So you can, again, for sliding, you can adjust the offset, the look limit. Same with the ladder. If you want, you can only look left or right 30 degrees either side. Because I find like a lot of games look really weird. Like if you can turn all the way around, like you're just, I don't know, your head's on a swivel, I guess, which just to me doesn't make sense. But you can restrict the ladder movement or not. It's up to you. But all of the camera settings are right here. Just go through them, read them all. Very straightforward, very easy to use. All right. And then, of course, I've added the global volume, that kind of thing. But let's move on to the secondary thing here, which is the player camera. This is automatically configured, which is for the depth. It shows that it's correctly configured. This is so the weapons, legs, and other body parts do not clip through walls. It's your secondary camera. And then we have your punching target, which is, again, the IK. If you use the tool, you'll be the other wizards, you'll be able to alter these positions that way, or you can come in here and physically move them. So, for example, here we have the punch target. So that's where the player is going to be punching. You can have it where he punches up. Just move this to the desired position. And then you have the weapon left and right hand motion. This is, again, where you would select which ones you want to adjust to get the desired hand motions. So again, just to quickly recap on that, or to touch base on that again, if you go to the IK gizmo, and right now I'm looking at the weapon IK. So if you go to normal weapon IK group, which is what I just was looking at here, you have the left and right here, so you can adjust them and rotate them accordingly. All right, but that's where you would do it, is you would turn them on, you would come in here, choose the ones you want to alter or edit based on this list, and then just move them, rotate them, and then hit play, give it a test, see how it is. And that's the same for all of these. You've got the aim down sights, you got all of this stuff here. It's all the same IK. Now the IK, not all IK is attached to the camera. The reason why these IKs are attached to the camera is because the hands follow the way the player is looking. So you want to make sure that those are where they need to be. But by default, they are. And then, of course, we have additional IK, which is for the legs and that kind of thing, which are not parented to the camera because they're for leg movement. And the same thing here is just enable which ones you want. So you have leg IK here, weapon IK, and then you have your arm motion IK, and then you have your walking IK for your arms and that kind of thing. So after that, The visual root here is basically the model that you added, where you can sync the position and rotation of the model. You can offset it. You can normal smooth time as well. This is totally up to you, but by default, I'd leave it as it is. Otherwise, it'll just act really weird. But again, if you want some weird behavior to your character, I guess since I've included all of this, you can adjust it. Now, the reason why I did this, I could have just kept them all hidden, stuff that really would break, I guess, if you pushed it too far. But I wanted to expose everything so you have the power to really take advantage of everything to make it your character move great, look great, but also if you mess with certain things, you can make it look weird or act weird. But it gives you the power to get the exact feel, I guess, that you would require. And a lot of this stuff isn't really needed to be exposed to the public, but I wanted it to be exposed so you have the ability to alter it. But that's why I added all of these info boxes and stuff like that, because I want you to understand exactly what each of these do. So if you're messing with it, you know what you could be breaking. And then there's the stance controller. The stance controller, I can close this, is for the standing position, crouch, prone, wall run, tilt position, slide, and swim tilt. So this is basically for how the player looks in their stance. So for swimming, for example, for swimming, for example, is really, really low. And the way the body is rotated, so the legs are down here and his hands are here, kind of like prone. So it allows you to adjust the rotation. You can see the rotation right here. Right, so there's your swim tilt. So the body is tilted down, or the front part of the body is tilted down. So it looks like he's actually swimming in the water. That kind of thing. Okay. So you just have to go through this and adjust this. But by default, these should work for most models that you import. But you have the power to change that if you so choose. This is all pre-configured when you use the setup wizard. But again, this is your master Procedural IK controller right here for your IK system. You can enable and disable each of these. You can do it via code or manually if you so choose. But that's pretty cool. And here we have the procedural locomotion. This is for your movement, your frequency, I guess you could say, your multipliers and how the IK gizmos are handled, and how the hands move from one target, or the legs move from one target to the next. You got your bob and wait, the way your body bobs and sways and your hip drops, basically to give you the motion that you want, or the movement in your body you want, as well as the lean and the lean speed for when you're like, for example, when you play the demo, if you strafe left to right, you'll see the camera kind of tilt and rotate. It's because your body's actually leaning. And you can also yaw and tilt too, so you can go forwards and back. The body will slightly lean forward, slightly lean back, depending on the direction you're moving. So you have the ability to disable that or make it really, really big, which again would make the body or the character act really, really strange. But hey, if that's what you want, go for it. The procedural upper body, this is literally from the waist up. This is like your arms and your neck and your head and that kind of thing. So you can control all of the arms, shoulders, the sway, and that kind of thing, which is all explained in detail here. The arm motion IKs, again, that script shows and hides all of these, but this is for your arm motion, such as your swinging, your sprinting, your positions that your hands use and what targets they use. And you can add like noise amount too, so they follow it to a T or they don't follow it, where it's just a little bit of an offset, a little bit of a noise to it to add a little bit more uniqueness, randomness, and some realism to it. But you can do that for your standing, crouch, and prone positions for that, as well as, of course, your unarmed as well. Unarmed idle clips too, you can actually have an animation if you want for the arms when you're unarmed. Completely up to you. What else? Yeah, there's a lot going on here, but this is all pre-configured. When you create it, you create a character using the wizard. It'll automatically add all of these and assign them for you, which are all of these IKs under the camera, as well as all of these IKs as well as these IKs that you adjust to position. Face speed, this is where you can sync the arms to legs, so basically left to right, right to left. So you get more of a natural arm-leg movement when you're walking. Opposites, I guess you will. I guess if that's one way to put it. You can enable a sprint overshoot, so when you're running, your arms overshoot their target to give you a little bit more of a smooth ease in, ease out kind of motion. And then, of course, these are your hand poses. This is where you assign the hand poses that you create using the hand pose creation tool. For your idle, stand, crouch, prone, and that kind of thing. So you would create your hand poses and you would apply them all here. And the hand poses that you use for weapons, you apply directly onto the weapon prefabs themselves and the weapon components themselves, just FYI. But yeah, so I create all your poses and assign them here. And then the body IK is basically for the entire body, and you can enable it, disable it. If you disable it, basically the character will go stiff, as well as you can assign the body weight. Again, I don't know why you would want to use that, but you have the power to use it if you choose so. And then you can also have a stabilization speed as well as a pelvis offset. So you're going to offset the pelvis a little bit, which gives your character a little bit more stability. But here it's just things that really aren't needed to be public are made public, I guess. Moving on to the arm IK. Again, if you disable this, your arms go stiff like planks. They'll go straight out left to right like this. You can adjust the weight of the arms as well. And the hand targets are by default. It'll automatically change those depending on what state your character's in. So don't actually assign a target there. It'll automatically do it. Then, of course, you have the elbow hint, which basically prevents the arms from twisting and distorting too much. If you have an animation cycle that uses other elbows, this will automatically be updated. But these are the default optional elbow hints. And then, of course, your arm blend speed of how fast it blends between. All right. Leg IK, it's basically like arm IK, but for the legs. But the one thing that is quite different is the foot rotation, where you can align the feet to the ground. So it's got, like if you're on a slope, your foot's not going to be straight. It's going to be angled to the slope. So you have the ability to do that by leaving this enabled. It's enabled by default, but you can also set the foot yaw limits too, so it doesn't hyperextend your foot or break your model in any way. You can actually adjust the limits. By default, these are pretty rock solid. And then, of course, just like the elbows, you have the knee ones, which are your default knee hints. Okay, optional, but I recommend that you just leave it as it is. Ground layer detection, again, make sure that it is set to level geometry. A lot of this is automatic, but make sure that it is set to that, and that your raycast distance for your feet is at least 1.2, 1.5 should be ideal. And then the weapon IK is exactly what it is for the weapons. So you got the weapon aim point and stuff like that. Each weapon has a different aim point depending on what type of weapon it is. But when you set it up or create a weapon, that's when you configure all that stuff anyway. Walk mode is for walking. We talked about this previously in another video, I'm pretty sure. But if you want, right now run as default, but you can have it where the character walks by default. And then they have to toggle it, or they can hold it to go into a different state, such as run or sprint. So the walk speed, there's your walk speed, that kind of thing. Now, the hand pose manager is what changes the poses depending on the state, such as your grabbing, climbing, combat, that kind of thing, idle default. It's already got the priority order from highest to lowest. Obviously, the ladder needs to be the highest because it's, especially if you're trying to climb something, you're holding a weapon, it'll put the weapon away and then it will automatically assign the IK to the ladder better. So you can set the blend speed. I just set it to max. Blend threshold, I almost set it to max as well. And it will automatically change the hand pose depending on what action you're doing. This is by default, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. You can use debug if you want, but a lot of these scripts have debug. I've just left them in, so when I do add additional modules, I can debug it as I go. I didn't want to remove all of that stuff from the scripts because it's not needed. but it's there for me, but not for you. But you can check it out if you want. Procedural idle hands. Now this is really cool. The procedural idle hands is basically allows you to have animated hands procedurally. So for example, in the demo, you'll see when you go into crouch, if you look at the hands slowly go open and close, but randomly, kind of organically. And this allows you to change the bend axis, which is the local bend axis. So make sure that your joints correct rotational axis is set here. Otherwise, the fingers will bend in weird ways. So just to make sure that that's what you do here, you can choose the intensity, speed, that kind of thing. And then you can choose a wave preset. This determines how and which way the fingers move and in what order. So you can have calm, breath, restless, subtle, and that kind of thing. I have it sin wave is pretty decent. So, but you have full control of that. Your standing position. This is where you would move the standing position. So if I went into play mode, for example, and I came back to here and I chose the stand, you'll see that it adjusts. So you can adjust exactly how much you want the player to be. And you can do this for all the other ones as well, but yeah, you can adjust the height to get the exact ones you want. Just make note of the values and stuff like that here. But yeah, that's pretty cool. What else? Kick target, again, this is all IK stuff, your swimming, that kind of thing. Your audio sources. Yeah, I think that's basically all I need to cover on that. Okay, last thing I want to talk about is the HUD canvas. This has some additional things here, such as the pause menu UI. This is where you have all of your panels, buttons, that kind of thing, and all your logic tied in. When you use the wizards, this is automatic, so you don't need to worry about it, including the death screen. All of this stuff is automatic. Save indicator. Now, this is kind of cool because you can choose the icon that you want to rotate. So, for example, if you look at the icon I chose as a little disc, you can turn it into a little circle, a little animated bouncing rabbit, whatever you want to do. It is up to you. And then that's where you would assign it here. And yeah, that's what the save UI is in the duration display. So when it's saving, you can show the duration and the rotation speed, that kind of thing. And then we have a confirm pop-up, which is for like your yes or no, like if you quit, are you sure? Yes, no. Save, overwrite, are you sure? Yes, no. This is basically the confirm pop-up. And it's automatically rewired at runtime to make sure that it uses the logic it needs to be used. So, for example, you don't have to have multiples of the confirm pop-up for each bloody instance. You just have one, and it automatically configures for it. The save module, again, this is for when you have the save system or the save UI. It's all automatically. It has the script GUID, good. It has that there just so you have a stable saving system. Because if it's one thing I hated when I first started this, is the save system was flaky as hell, and I couldn't figure out why until I realized that the GUID kept changing on me. So yeah, that wasn't good. But that's all fixed now in this version, so we're good. The options menu, this again is automatically created when you use the menu setup wizard. And you can go through all of this stuff. I'm not going to go through all of this, but you can change how it looks, that kind of thing. But yeah, that's more or less it for this one. I mean, I could keep going on about the other components, but I just wanted to cover the controller and the HUD canvas, and we'll continue this in another video. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.